All right. Welcome to Therapeutic Movement for making space for and processing emotions and moving away from isolation and moving towards reconnection with our personal power, our personal life force, and moving towards connection and community. What I have planned for this 60-minute experience is a bit of a mindfulness meditation to start. So if you're comfortable sitting for a spell, great. But if you'd prefer to start this experience reclining or lying down, if that feels more comfortable, then I invite you to get comfortable. We will explore that meditation for 5 to 7 minutes or so. Then I'll guide movement that is meant to help us move and shift. If you think about emotion as energy in motion, when we're using our therapeutic movement to intentionally connect with, move, make space, our movement can have a quality of rinsing out, of fluidity. So I have a sequence in mind that is quite fluid and active and dynamic. However, you are always your best teacher, so I'll give lots of different options. Then we'll move into another reflective practice to help us feel more connected to ourselves and each other. And then finally, I have some ideas to really help us settle our nervous systems, relax our body, and find some rest. All of this not meant to bypass the reality of current events, but to help us find the clarity and the power within ourselves so we don't feel engulfed and completely swept away by. So once again, start in any position that feels comfortable for you to receive this beginning, opening, acknowledgement of how you find yourself in this moment. I often suggest palms facing up, whether you're seated or lying down. Gaze turns within so that you enter your internal landscape. Start with this outermost layer of who we are as human beings, your physical body. Maybe this is the first time that you've really checked in with how you feel physically. You're not looking for trouble. You're not looking with a judgmental eye, looking for bad or good. You are simply shifting into a curious and hopefully compassionate observer as you scan from the tips of your toes up the length of your body and notice physical sensations. It might be a place that feels extra alive or maybe warmer or cooler. You might notice more vibration, pulsation somewhere within or on the body. Move your way up through the torso, abdomen, low back, chest, upper back, shoulders, arms, and hands, and then up to throat and face. Notice if you're holding any residual tension or habitual tension. So I notice that I can lower my shoulders quite a bit. Notice if that's the case for you. I notice that there's tension around my eyes. Notice for you where you might have tension in your face, your jaw, between the eyebrows, the forehead. And see if you can allow a softening. And then feel your whole body. Sometimes it's helpful to feel the back line of your body. And imagine that the whole front line could rest back into your strong back line. And feel your whole body in this moment. And create an intention to arrive. To be fully living in your body. Notice what it feels like to have a body now. Notice the quality of your breath. If it feels good to deepen it, great, or just simply notice where you feel the breath creating expansion and softening in your body. Let the mind follow the breath. Notice your energy level without judgment. Notice if you're feeling drained or if you're feeling energized, maybe neutral. Maybe it's hard to tell, but whatever you find when you look within, I invite it to be okay. Let it be as it is. Notice momentum of the mind. If there has been some constant rumination here, distraction, if there's been space between thoughts, if the whole system, including the mind, feels a little amped up, maybe you rushed to get online. Again, allow yourself to practice noticing thoughts, imagery, distraction, plans. And then allow yourself to notice what you feel, the emotional tone of your experience now. And we often feel emotions as sensations in the body. So you might start with feeling sensations, maybe at the center of the chest, the throat, the head. And this can also be a practice for the next time you are feeling emotions, if you don't feel like moving into this practice now. But maybe there has been emotions present, but not the time to sit and acknowledge. And the first step here is just to acknowledge what you find. There could be some masking emotions, and then the more you look within with acceptance and understanding, you might notice something deeper. The invitation here is to name what you find without having to worry about getting it right. Simply naming what we feel is one of the first steps to helping us move our emotions, to use them, to be guided by them, to inquire into them. You might place a hand somewhere on the body. You might just acknowledge, yes, I feel that, and I'm here. I'm here to feel that, to hold that, to witness that, to honor that, to not push it down or push it away, to not avoid or distract. And you're welcome to titrate in and out of this, maybe noticing and then coming back to noticing the connection of your body on the ground, to noticing air on your skin if it feels like too much at any point. You might deepen the breath and imagine that you could touch that feeling, that emotion, begin to make space for it, to give it some room. And we add movement now, not because we want to get rid of or change, but because we are meant to move. And not that this process needs to be rushed, but there can be power in channeling emotion, in using it to empower ourselves, in using it to inspire intentional, helpful action for community. So the first movement I'll offer is big circles with your torso. So this movement will have a quality of rinsing. Again, not to release unless it feels right for you. If the practice for you now feels like, yes, I want a release, I want to make space, that's here for you. Because this is the next part. When we're using therapeutic movement in order to process, we can use our movement to either move through for more information, to move through to experience more of the emotion, to uncover more of our inner depths, or to transform, to decide how we'd like to feel or what information we'd like at the end of this movement. So I invite you to switch directions. And as you're moving, the next invitation is to come up with your intention. What are you using this movement for? Simply to allow yourself to breathe, time for yourself, time to become body-centered, present-centered, to remind ourselves in this moment, we're here. We're safe enough. As you're setting your personal intention, you might start to deepen the breath. Noticing that movement helps us to deepen and regulate the breath. And when we are moving our breath, we are processing our inner experience back through center. Next time you inhale, send the chest forward, might lift the chin. And as you exhale, round the spine. If it feels good to add the arms, inhale to your cactus arms. And exhale, if it's okay, wrap your arms around your torso. Give yourself a squeeze. And inhale. Symbolic here of reminding ourselves the importance of coming back home to ourselves, of engaging in practices that help us to ground, that help us to center, that help us to be intentional, so that we can move out into the world open-hearted. Move with your breath now, uniting breath, body, and mind. Next time you inhale, lengthen the legs and arms out in front of you and start to warm up wrists and ankles. Maybe you move wrists and ankles in the same way, big circles in the same direction. Switch direction. Flexing and extending. Fingertips behind you, feet mat distance apart. Allow both of your knees to descend over to the right, back through center, and then left. So I've got some options for you here. You are welcome to move in this way, these windshield wipe kind of movements in time with your breath, or I have some add-ons for you to explore. Remember, you're your best teacher. The next time the knees come towards the right, I invite you to twist towards the right, land the fingertips behind you, and then sink the chest down, hinging at the hip creases. Make sure that feels okay for your body. Sit back up. Take the left arm to the left, up and over with the right arm, side stretch towards the left, firm the abdominal wall, and then take both hands back behind the right hip, sink from the chest, keep the spine long, chest open, come on back up, sweep left arm, then right, up and over, firming the abdominal wall, come into your side stretch. So find that rhythm. Imagine that you're holding onto an apple between your chin and your throat as you twist from the mid-torso, lower, firm the abdominal wall, sweep left arm, then right, and here we go, over towards that left side, over to the right, attempting to mirror you here. Left, then right, left side stretch, last time. Next time you lower the torso, press yourself back up, plant your right hand strongly into the ground. This may be plenty, pressing into the right hand and reaching the left arm, or you could press into the right hand, come up to stand on the knees and open up the front line of the body without collapsing into that low shoulder joint. Again, an apple between chin and throat. Exhale, lower, and maybe you'll press yourself up and down 3 more times. Sweep the arm around and high, and express these movements in a way that feels right for you. Exhale, lower. If you are pressing up, press up, lift, lengthen the tailbone. Last time. Good. And then swish, swish the knees a few times back and forth, and we'll do that on the second side. Next time the knees come over to your left, twist from the mid-torso towards the left, land the fingertips behind that left thigh, lower, chest leading the way, come on up, long spine, right arm over to the right, left arm, side stretch, make it work for you towards the right. Twist from the mid-torso, firm the abdominal wall so that you're supporting the low back, and make these movements work for your body. Notice the difference on this side. Slow down the breath and slow down the movement. The act of slowing down, especially in our movement practices, especially at the beginning when we're warming up, lets our bodies know that we're safe enough to slow down, that there's nothing urgent. We don't have to be on high alert in this moment. We can simply move in time with breath. Next time you press yourself up from lowering, plant that left hand down. It could be that right arm reaches, that could be plenty, or you could press down into the standing hand, come up to stand up on the knees, and then sweep the arm down and back up, maybe 3 more times, firming the abdominal wall. Beautiful. Back through center. Swish, swish, swish. Come back to crossing the legs, maybe opposite of what you did to begin with. Palms open, big breath in and out. As you exhale, hinge at the hip creases, maybe walk the hands out in front of you and come into a little bit of a bow. Keep the front of the body long. This may not be right to fold forward at all, and that's fine. Now, eventually you're coming to a tabletop, and the invitation could be to come out of this, sweep the legs to one side. You might roll over the feet and the shins, only if that feels right for your body. You could use the muscles of the hands with the wrists directly underneath the shoulders. Knees in a little bit closer so you can connect with abdominal engagement here. Firm around the elbows, lift front body to back body, and then lift the right arm and twist once again from the mid-torso. Can your low back stay level? And then thread the right arm underneath the left, and we'll move dynamically here in time with the breath. It's not about this huge range of motion. It's about feeling abdominals engaged, the twist just from the mid-torso. It's like you're lifting the contents of the abdomen up and tucking them underneath the ribs. So much integrity there in your core, supporting your low back. The next time you lower the right hand, lower the right forearm, please. So you're on right forearm, left hand, firm the abdominal wall, and kick the left leg out to the left. So that's an external rotation, and then bring it back in. And if you feel like you're sinking down into your right hip joint, lift. Lift out of that right hip joint as you kick the left leg out to the left. Front ribs in. Shoulder blades secure on upper back ribs. Find a rhythm here. Last one. You might hold. Good. Come back to your tabletop. Now you'll plant this left hand, pivot out the left foot, come on over to a variation of a side plank to the left. You could sweep the arm over top of the ear, lift yourself out of that low shoulder joint, ears and chin and ribs back. Good. Now we're only here to try. Firm the abdominal wall. Help this top leg, your right leg, forward so you come into a low lunge with both of your knees bent to 90. You could stay low, hands to blocks, or you're coming up. Tailbone long, imagine zipping pubic bone to navel. You could bring the hands together and then twist from the mid-torso towards the right. Maybe hook the outer left elbow to the outer right knee, coming into this twisted low lunge. Ears, chin, ribs back. And then exhale, unwind, plant your hands, and then you decide three-legged table, right leg back, or three-legged downward facing dog, opening up that right hip. First time in a dog, really pressing down strongly into both hands, firm around the elbows, shoulders square to top mat, and lift the ribs away from the ground. And then come back to your downward facing dog, to a 3-point plank here. Keep the face and chest lifting. Slowly lower. Keep the chest lifted. Keep the toes tucked. Firm the abdominal wall. Press yourself back up and hips down. Keep the chest lifting and the head in front of the arms. And then use the muscles of the hands to bring yourself forward. Face and chest stays lifted. Weight of the body in the triceps as you lower. Kiss your shoulder blades towards one another. Press down. Chest stays lifted as you send the hips back. Find a bit of a rhythm there. Firming abdominal wall all the way through this sequence. Exhale. Press up, hips back. Inhale, draw yourself through. Keep the face and chest lifting throughout. Last time. And then hips all the way down. Open up the knees wider. Touch the big toes towards one another. Rest your forehead on something and come back to your breath. And remind yourself of intention here. Notice internal flow. What's wanting to move, what's wanting to shift, what's wanting to be felt, what's wanting to transform. As you might notice breath transforming here. Let's slide all the way forward to a prone position before we come to the other side. Anchor the tops of the feet and the pubic bone. Come to finger tops. Really kiss your shoulder blade towards one another and think apple between chin and throat. Sink the right shoulder down, back through center. Sink the left shoulder down, back through center. Find mobility at the upper back. firmness of abdominal wall. And then press yourself back up through your table. That whole sequence, second side. Stack your joints, wrist creases, underneath elbows, underneath shoulders. Use the muscles of your hands. If you're on hands, knees a little closer than you would so that you can lift the contents of the abdomen. Really feel your abdominal wall engage. When you feel ready, left arm reaches open, twisting just from mid-torso, and then thread left arm underneath right. Find your breath, your intention. Slow down the movements. Slow down your breath. Moving and rinsing. Freeing and making space. Left forearm down, elbow directly underneath the shoulder. Just make sure that's the case. Right hand is still on the ground. Firm the abdominal wall. Now you're kicking that right leg into an external rotation, bringing it back in. You're not collapsing into the left hip. Feel yourself lift out of there with the engagement of your core. Imagine that this propulsion of the right leg, the kick, is coming from deep core engagement as well. Warming up big muscles of the body here. Relax the face. Hold. Right knee down, right hand down, pivot out the right foot, come into a variation of a side plank. Lifting yourself out of that low shoulder joint, ears, chin, ribs back, tailbone long. Lift the guts like you're lifting the abdomen towards the chest. You might reach that top arm, overside top ear. Breathe. Now remember the move that we did. Prepare for that possible stepping forward to a low lunge. Help yourself as much as you need to. Engage abdominal wall. Help this top leg forward. Take your time coming into this low lunge. You might stay low, hands to blocks. You might come up. Notice how the bottom knee is directly underneath the tailbone. Squeeze the outer hips towards one another. Bring the hands towards one another. And if it's okay to twist just from the mid-torso, nothing else moves. Inner thighs, outer hips, keep hugging towards one another as you twist just from mid-torso. Good. Ears and chin back. Firm the abdominal wall as you unwind. Remember your choices, your three-legged table or your three-legged downward facing dog. Maybe this left hip reaching up and over. Plant the hands strongly, shoulders square with top mat, and then lift front body to back body. Really lift ribs away from the floor. Come on back to your downward facing dog right here. Ripple forward to your plank. Bring the knees down. Keep the face and chest lifted. Hands are strong. Imagine you're dialing them away from one another. And then slowly lower. Keep the chest lifted, lifted, lifted. Anchor the tops of the feet in the pubic bone. Light on fingertops. Kiss those shoulder blades together a lot. And then take your time and send the hips all the way back and down. Rest your forehead on something. Come back to your breath. Feel where the breath is moving, like you're creating more space. Energy in motion. Either from your tabletop or from a downward facing dog, I invite you to walk or step your feet forward towards your hands. Come into a forward fold with your knees pretty deeply bent so you keep it out of the low back. Press your feet down and away from one another. Feel that sense of grounding yourself in this moment, and then root down to rise up. Good. When you get there, keep pressing feet and knees away from one another. Exhale, sink into an invisible chair or stool, arms down and back. Root down to rise up. Twist just from the mid-torso towards the left, so legs and pelvis do not move. Inhale back through center. Sink the hips back and down without caving the knees in. Recruit your glutes. Good. Root down, rise up. Inhale, full body stretch. And then twist from the mid-torso towards the right. One more time, each side like that. Exhale. Maybe a long exhale with an open mouth. Exhale, twist, rinse. Inhale, one more chair. Root down, rise up. And twist towards the right. A practice where we're focusing on release and moving can be noisy. We can sigh it out, let it go. Come up to standing here at the top of your yoga mat. Dynamic standing sequence here before we slow it down. Hands to the hip points. Send the right leg back, upright crescent lunge. So it's a bit shorter and wider. Hug the outer hips towards one another and imagine a zipper, zipping pubic bone to navel. I'll start teaching this a little bit slower and then we'll add on. Bring the hands together at the heart. Firm the abdominal wall, twist just from the mid-torso towards the front leg, towards the left knee. Come back through center. Step forward. You might lift the right knee. You might not. There's no have to. There's no better or worse. Exhale, send that right leg back. Hug outer hips, inner thighs towards one another. Twist just from the mid-torso as you exhale. So you're lifting those guts. And then inhale, unwind, step forward, maybe with the right knee lifted. A few times like that. Find a slow, steady pace. Relaxing shoulders and face. Adding on something a little bit more dynamic, I'll have options for you. Starting here, we might reach the arms high, sweep back into an upright crescent lunge. Exhale, plant the hands. Now you decide. You could step back into a three-legged table with that right knee down, or sweep the left leg back into a three-legged downward facing dog. And then from here, the invitation, really recruit or really engage with your center there. Engage with your abdominals. From here, invitation to step that left leg forward once again. You can help the ankle forward if you need to. You're welcome to stay low or root down to rise up, sweeping back up into this upright crescent. And either hands to the hips or hands can stay high as you float the knee back up or step up, whatever feels right for you. So I'm going to invite 3 more like that, but stop where you need to, find the variation that you need to. Stepping back, upright crescent lunge, zip, pubic bone to navel. Exhale, sweep forward and down. This could be a 3-legged table or a 3-legged downward facing dog. Left leg rises. And then as you exhale, left knee to nose, make space, float it through. When you feel ready, root down, rise up. You can either step forward or lift. And 2 more times. You could stay in one of these shapes instead of moving in time with the breath. Help the ankle root down, rise up or not. You don't have to step forward. You could wait in that crescent lunge. Three-legged table or dog. Stepping forward, root down, rise up. Maybe step forward, maybe lift the right knee last time. Like you're sending core strength down into your feet. Step up. Good. Next time you step up, either with right toes like a kickstand or right knee lifted, I invite you to take the left hand to the outer right knee, twist from the mid-torso towards the right. If you're lifting the foot, and remember there's never any have to, that foot is very active, lift the contents of the abdomen, lift the guts. And then back through center. Feel your feet on the ground. Breathe. Notice the difference between each side of your body. Notice your breath. Plant your feet so that they're parallel. Press parallel feet down and away from one another. Inhale, reach. And then let's sink into that chair pose. Inhale back through center. This time up and over, side stretch towards one side, doesn't matter which, back through center. Press the feet and knees away from one another, sit back, invisible stool or chair, and then up and over, side stretch, second side. Good. Back through center, hands to your hip points. Send the left leg back. Let's start with our upright crescent lunge. Front hip back, squeeze the legs towards one another and feel a zipper, pubic bone to navel, so the low back is spacious. Hands come together. If you're twisting, draw the whole waistline back, twist from the mid-torso towards that right knee, and then you might either step forward or pick up that left knee before stepping back. Squeeze the inner thighs and outer hips towards one another. Twist towards that front knee. You could simply step forward or lift. There's no better or worse. Couple more. Find that sense of dynamic, strong movement that works for you with long, deep breath. Relax the jaw and face. So maybe we'll add on to your variation of something more dynamic. Reach the arms. Sweep the left leg back. Come into that crescent lunge, drawing the whole waistline back. Lift the guts here a lot. Exhale, reach forward and down. This could be a three-legged tabletop with the left knee down and the right leg back, or three-legged downward facing dog. No better or worse. Maybe just one time stepping it forward, grabbing the ankle with the hand. You could stay low or you could root down, rise up. You could step forward, or when you do, left leg could lift, hugging outer hips and inner thighs towards one another. Maybe 3 more times. Upright crescent lunge. Find a rhythm. Exhale, forward and down. Three-legged table or three-legged dog. Firm around the elbows, lift front body to back body. Hug the knee in, make some space, help the ankle forward. You're welcome to stay low here or root down, rise up. You're welcome to stay here or step forward, maybe knee lifts. So keep finding that variation for you. 2 more. Hands can always be at the hips for more stability. Gaze is soft and steady. Last time. As you step forward, invitation to have the left foot as a kickstand or to lift the left knee, hug the outer hips towards one another, right hand to outer left knee, zip pubic bone to navel. You might twist from the mid-torso towards that front leg. And then on this side, I invite you to take a big step open to the long edge of your mat to a wide goddess squat, turning toes and knees slightly away from one another. Hug ball mounds of the feet towards the heels so that your feet are like suction cups. and lift the arches of your feet all the way up the inseam to lift the guts. Imagine that you could tuck them under your rib cage so you feel so integrated, hugging outer body into inner body. Good. You can stay right here or cactus arms here. Chin and ribs in. Twist just from the mid-torso. Now imagine that you're leading with your chest. You're leading with your rib cage. It's really easy to want to lead with the face and find a greater range of motion, but it doesn't have to be a huge range of motion when you're leading just with the ribs. Hips, legs stay as they are. Knees tracking right on top of ankles. Good. Rinsing. Lovely. Back through center. Bring your hands to your thighs. Hinge at the hip creases. Spine is long. Sink one shoulder and then the other. Feel mobility at the upper back, just to the degree that that serves you. Good. And then straighten the legs as you rotate the feet so that they're parallel and come into your wide-legged forward fold. Fingertips can be on the ground or blocks. Feet are parallel. Check that that's the case. Hug the feet towards one another. Zip once again. Feel the lifting of the abdominal wall. You could stay just where you are, or right hand can stay connected to the ground as you lift the left arm and twist towards the left. Again, feel as though you're leading with your rib cage. And then back through center, revolve in the opposite direction. Back through center, heel toe the feet to come down to a squat that works for your body. It could be that your elbows are at the thighs. See if you can come down to a bit of a healthier squat so the feet are more parallel. And then depending on what works for you, you could come forward to all fours or you could come back to a seat. There's no better or worse. Come into your seat. Pause here. As you cross your legs, see if it works for you to adjust the cross of your legs so that you're crossing at the midpoint of your shins and you're awakening your feet. Your feet are very flexed. And as you hinge at the hip creases without rounding the spine, see if you can just come into a stretch for the outer hips there. If you don't like that, you can lay on the ground and find your stretch for your hips with a figure 4. This is just a brief stretch. Switch the cross of the legs. Activate the feet. You're crossing just at the shins here. Hinge. Shoulders back. Chest leading the way even here. And then root down to rise up. Come into a comfortable seat. We're moving into a reflection. If it is comfortable to receive this reflection from seated, wonderful. You are welcome to lie down if that would be better. But before we move into it, I invite you to look at your screen and look at those that have joined us from around North America. This is a reflection that invites us to reconnect with a sense of community. We can do this at any point. We can do this when we're waiting in line at the grocery store to help us feel more connected to strangers. We can do it while we're driving in traffic. We can do it more formally with the people that we love, but we can practice here virtually. So you're just gazing at who's here, noticing. And then you can continue to do that, or you can turn back in towards yourself, remembering those that are here. And we repeat to ourselves that those that are joining us in practice here, each person present here has a body, just like we do. So you might repeat to yourself, these people, they have a body just like me. Everybody present in this class struggles with emotions sometimes, just like me. You might internally repeat, just like me. Everybody present feels stuck and confused sometimes, just like me. The people in this gathering feel afraid sometimes, just like me. You might allow for some deep breaths between these thoughts. The people in this gathering are hard on themselves sometimes, just like me. The people in this gathering have experienced disappointment, just like me. The people on this gathering just want to feel safe enough, just like me. These people here desire to feel connected to others, just like me. The people in this gathering want to feel really seen and recognized, just like me. The people gathered here want to be loved, just like me. I invite you to notice how you feel. Notice how that reflection and practice landed on you. There's no right or wrong way to experience it. And then I invite you to slowly build your nest and lie down for what is intended to be some healing, relaxation, restoration. Yeah, get yourself warm enough, cozy enough, a bolster or blanket underneath your knees. When you get there, I'd like to offer some progressive relaxation. So get yourself comfy, arms by your sides, let your feet and your knees and your hips just fall away from one another. Receive a big conscious breath in and out, like a whole body breath, a whole body release. And the next time you inhale, I invite you to flex your feet, spread your toes. You might hold that inhale for a beat, hold all that tension in both of your feet. And then as you exhale, let it go and let your feet go. Thank you, feet. Feel both of your feet. Thank you, feet. Now firm the muscles of your legs a lot. Take a deep breath in. Hold that breath in. Hold all the tension of your legs. Hold. And then exhale, maybe an audible sigh. Let tension of the legs go. Let the breath go. Thank you, legs. You can release now, legs. Next time you inhale, I invite you to really gather strength around the abdomen, this area where we hold a lot of tension. Tense it. Take a deep breath in. You might hold that breath in. You might hold all of that tension at your center. Hold. And then exhale. Could be an audible sigh. And now notice the breath freer there at the abdomen. Imagine that you're even allowing abdominal organs to soften, to let go. Notice a difference just in that. Next time you inhale, spread your fingers wide, lift your arms a few inches away from the ground, firm all the muscles of your arms to the bones of your arms. Hold that breath in for a beat. Hold, and then exhale. Let that go. Let your breath go. Let the muscles of your arms soften. Thank you, arms. Thank you, hands. You can release, you can let go. If you're comfortable, the next time you inhale, firm up all the muscles of your face, crinkle your nose and squeeze your eyes and jaw and hold that breath in and squeeze, tense. And exhale, let it go, let the forehead soften, let the eyelids smooth. Every bit of tension releases out of the jaw and the lips. And thank you to the senses, to eyes and what you can see, what you can smell, what you can taste, what you can speak, what you can hear. Feel your whole body. Feel the back line of your body so supported here. And feel the front line of your body, maybe more spacious, soft, open. 3 rounds of humming exhalations. Take a deep breath in. Feel the navel rise. And then as you exhale, let the exhale fade away. Feel the vibration. Notice where you feel the vibration. 2 more times. Breath in, feel the navel rise. Let it fade away. Notice where you feel the residue of that vibration. 1 more time, feel the navel rise. Inhale. Continue to observe vibration as if you have tuned the inner energetic architecture of your body. Notice the flow inside the body and gather your awareness at the place just above your navel. Visualize breath emanating from this center above the navel, expanding in all directions, and then as you exhale, energy comes back to that place of personal power. The force that we can call on. The place that can propel us towards loving, compassionate action for self, for community. Continue to watch breath expanding and contracting back into that space for the next couple of moments. Begin to deepen the breath, expanding the breath from that center point and drawing it back in. Like you could expand your energy out into your space, encompassing your home, sending that energy out into your community, and then bringing it back, feeding yourself, stoking your own life force before sharing it. Next time you exhale, feel it within. And then invite your body to move. Awakening fingers and toes, freeing the joints, knowing at any moment just a little bit of movement can help to regulate the breath and bring you back home to reconnect with self and maybe reconnect with processing skills leading you home to your personal power. You might offer yourself a full body stretch before eventually very slowly coming back up to your seat. Palms open when you get there. Continuing to receive the gifts of your practice. And this is when you get to receive the fruits of your own personal intention. What were you using your therapeutic movement for? And can you receive the fruits of that intention? And notice not that anything has changed or that anything is better per se, but just allow yourself to continue to acknowledge how you feel. So that you can continue to give yourself what you need. You can keep your hands on your lap. You can layer your hands at the center of your chest, reminding yourself that you always have your own back. But I do invite you to drop the chin this time in practice where we honor ourselves, we honor each other. The power of these practices, the power of community, and our own personal power. We are stronger than we think. We are needed. From my heart to yours, thank you. Thank you for receiving this practice.